All right, I'll say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Thank you very much. We begin this interaction this evening of your time and mine with the following entitlement: the ultimate truth. Before we begin, allow us to share with you that what is, shall we say, occurring before you, though we have used the designation Bashar, is indeed a blended energy. I, what you would loosely call I, Bashar, am an individual, much as yourself. Have a world, have a body, have a life. However, from the onset in that way of these interactions through this particular channel, there is also another individual directly involved in these interactions. This individual is also a male upon our planet, and in that way, slowly, a bit at a time, is increasing his involvement in these interactions. I, for the time being, am, if you will, the front man. But the idea being that, again, even from the onset, it has been a blended energy. For the time being, we will retain as a referential name Bashar. However, this will not always be so. For as that shifting takes, shall we say, a firmer hold, there will be, shall we say, another more appropriate referential designation or name that will be ascribed to these interactions. From your perspective, the interactions will be much the same. However, even from your perspective, there will be shiftings and there will be slight changes. Again, what you are getting is a blended energy. And when the proportion of that energy shifts, though there may seem to be differing nuances, you will still be seeming to deal with the same, shall we say, consciousness. So you do not need in that way, in any way, shape, or form, to feel that I am leaving, for I am not. Simply that the emphasis is beginning to shift. And as it does, you will still be getting very much the same sharing, the same ideas. But there will be, shall we say, a bit of an expansion that will, shall we say, become capable in that the nuances of that particular other individual will slightly differ. And those differences will be, shall we say, gifts for you to unwrap. So therefore, again, for now, we will retain the designation Bashar. But however, again, allow me to remind you, Bashar is not actually even my name. We have no names as such. We are telepathic beings, and in that sense, understand each other directly, know each other, if you will, directly. And therefore, not speaking a particular language, do not retain those types of symbological labels. The name Bashar was chosen, if you will, and is indeed an earth word that had particular significance to the first earth channel that we had, in that sense, come through. It had, shall we say, a particular reach into the heritage of that individual. And so similarly, when the time, shall we say, is upon us, the, shall we say, new designation will not truly be the name of that other individual, but will be an earth word that has significance to this physiological channel. Therefore, because this is becoming more apparent now to the channel, I am allowed to share these ideas. Allow us to proceed with the topic at hand, the ultimate truth. Many times, in individuals' search for the meaning of reality, for their purpose in life, the question will arise, well, what is the ultimate truth? Allow us now to share with you that truth. Listen up. Would not want to miss it. The idea is a bit of a paradox. For by definition, the ultimate truth, to ultimately be the truth, is composed of all truths. Therefore, what we are saying is that all truths, all subjective truths, are true for those who believe them, for those that accept them as their picture of reality. Whatever your belief system is your truth. And the idea being that although certain truths may seem to be at odds, may seem to be, in fact, the opposite, they are still not mutually exclusive, though individuals will often choose to label them that way. Well, it's either this or that. It cannot be both. Everyone knows that. Everyone does not know that. The idea is, from our perspective, it is always this and that. Which has more relevant significance to you? Which do you choose? But each has equal validity. Allow us to use an analogy that perhaps we have not used before. You have the idea upon your planet that you label a particular food, for instance. One individual will taste that food and say, oh my, this tastes very good. Another individual will taste the same food and say, my goodness, that's just awful. Now the idea is, the food itself is a neutral symbol with no built-in meaning. It is not that it tastes good or tastes bad. Obviously, it is both. They both are true for those who are doing the tasting. So the idea being that truths follow the same analogy, that it is true for those that believe them. All systems of belief bring along with them a self-sustaining, self-perpetuating system of logic. And therefore, each, when you are buying into them, when they are your premise for proceeding, seem, and this is the key word, seem to you to be the only way. That's the way it is. Understand, that is not the way it is. That is one way it can be. There is, in that sense, no overall objective. That's the way it is. And even if there were, the moment an individual perceives it, it becomes subjective. So therefore, all truths are true. And the power of understanding this statement emotionally allows you to see that you can choose the truth you prefer. Therefore, begin to look at what your truths are. Begin to look at what you would prefer your truths to be. If you say that's the way it is about something you do not prefer, you have chosen, either consciously or subconsciously, to adopt that as your truth. An interesting propensity in your society is individuals will sometimes believe that a truth that they do not prefer has more weight than one they do. Much of this has to go back to, shall we say, the subject of deservability. However, understand from our perspective, empirically, overall speaking, That is not the way it is. And when you find yourself believing that a reality you do not prefer is actually more likely, that enables you to define right in front of your face your particular truth. We have shared many times that changing your truth or your belief system or your picture of reality is quite simple. However, you can only begin to do so once you have owned what it is you truly believe, what it is that is your truth, what you have bought into and accepted as your picture of reality. Until you will acknowledge what you already hold as a truth, you cannot change it. And the moment that you do, you can. So therefore, first and foremost, in allowing yourself to be a conscious creator, will be acknowledging the beliefs or truths you already hold. We have also used the terminology admitting to yourself what you already hold as truth. And we use the word admit in the sense of admission, to let in, to let yourself in on what you truly believe. Now again, and briefly, when you have a particular reality that you hold as your truth, you act as though you believe that particular truth. And it is the actions with that truth as a premise that creates the reality you are perceiving. Therefore, you can now see the importance of becoming conscious about it. If you unconsciously accept truths based on everybody knows that's the way it is, you then allow yourself to be, quote unquote, at the mercy of what everyone else knows, rather than what is truly ringing or true for you. So if you will begin to narrow down what you believe as truth and recognize that what you prefer to believe as truth is equal, is also just as true, all truths are, you begin to allow yourself equal access to choosing that which you prefer versus that which you do not. The idea that the ultimate truth is composed of all truths is truly a liberating notion. If there were only one way, there would only be one person. Look around. There are many, many, many individuals. Each one is a way. Therefore, obviously, there is more than one, as you say, road to Rome. You can begin to utilize this notion to your greatest advantage. However, you can never transform a belief that you have by invalidating it, by denying that you have it. That very invalidation imbues it with more weight, not less. Denial does not give it less weight. It gives it more weight and in fact locks it in to your fabric, to your very fabric of your being. Once you will acknowledge that you have particular beliefs that you do not prefer, you can change them. Simply utilizing the same mechanism that you have utilized in order to perpetuate them to begin with. And that is, when you have a particular belief, again, you act as though you have that belief. That creates your reality. If you wish to change a belief after having already owned it, simply state the new belief. Feel what it would feel like if you truly already had that new belief. Use your imagination. It will work just fine, I assure you. And the feeling, the mustering up of the emotion, energy motion behind the new belief will firmly catapult you into a position to be able to take the last step. And the last step is simply using your imagination to conjure up how a person with a new belief would act, and act that way. that is again already how you are perpetuating the old reality, by acting as though you only believe that that is the only way. If you will be more conscious about it, you can now take that same idea and apply it according to preference. Therefore, one last idea along these lines is that you can begin to validate the truths of others, even if they are not your truth. You can understand that though apply to you, it may not. Apply to them, it does. And therefore, this does not need be extrapolated to mean you need condone a reality you do not prefer. However, if you are seeing it, if you have created yourself to be attracted to it, there is some aspect of it that is relevant to you. Some aspect of it that provides an opportunity for service and growth to yourself. It is sometimes most obvious what is negative, but when you begin to look at everything as being a creation and utilize that creation, you begin to look around, shall we say, the other side of that same issue. If it is most obvious what is negative, allow yourself to now view the less obvious notion. How does it serve you exactly as it is? It can be as profound as changing your entire meaning and understanding of life. It can, however, be as subtle as simply allowing you to see in no uncertain terms that you do not prefer that notion. And therefore you have defined yourself still further, thereby enhancing your self-awareness. And everything and anything that you can focus upon can be of service to you in that way. By utilizing, shall we say again, using your terminology, the worst of what you feel is left in your life that you do not prefer, therein lies the greatest acceleration in your self-awareness. And again, when you do begin to look at alternate ways that symbols that you do not prefer, that seem to repeat, have, you will allow them to transform. For any symbol is simply an idea. When you get the message that you have created the symbol to deliver, the symbol transforms right away. If it seems to keep coming back, that is not the message. So do not fixate upon a particular notion of what you feel a symbol must be. If you have already looked at that issue and it keeps coming back. Again, this is colloquial. It is never quite a repeat. It is always a new moment, but we understand that it seems to you to be a repeat. And this is what we are addressing. So therefore, use it. Use it all. It's all truth. But the idea is there is ultimate truth and relative truth. And if you can keep in mind that the ultimate truth is composed of all the relative truths, you can establish what your particular version of relative truth is without invalidating the relative truths of others, without invalidating their exploration, whether they have chosen it consciously or unconsciously. On some level, they too have chosen it. And they too have the power to allow it to serve them and transform it. Your greatest gift to other individuals is to allow them to see most clearly who you are. Your willingness to express who you are, to at least expose them to your truth by example, will always give them the greatest opportunity to choose your truth if it serves them. If you believe in your truth, truly believe in the power of your ideas, there is no need to convince anyone of them. When you are convincing other individuals of your truth, what you are truly saying to the universe is you do not believe it yourself. For you never have to convince anyone, only yourself. And if you believe in the power of your ideas and the power of your truths, then you can simply present them, you can simply walk that talk, and then individuals that will benefit from it will attract themselves to you. Just the ones who will benefit the most from it. The law of attraction is such that you can only experience a reality you are the vibration of. And therefore, when you consciously choose the vibration you wish to be, you will attract around you all that you need to continue to sustain that truth and to continue to share it with other individuals who will appreciate what you are saying. So if you believe in the power of your truth, simply live that truth. Do not need to do so much talking. You even have a saying, actions speak louder than words. Your ability to expertly argue your beliefs does not demonstrate to the universe that you truly believe them. It demonstrates to them that you too are wondering and allowing yourself to have these arguments so that you confirm your own belief. What the universe sees as absolute demonstrable proof of what you believe is your actions. And they do, in that sense, truly speak louder than words. For you will always ultimately act upon what you believe. Therefore, if you have actions that you do not prefer, do not berate yourself. Do not judge yourself. Trace it back to the belief. Then you can nail down the beliefs you say you do not prefer to perpetuate. And as we had began by saying, only can you change them if you will first own them. So let everything, if you wish, we will not force you to become too expanded, to serve you. And when you will even begin to think about it this way, many things will happen very quickly. Again, the worst of what you consider to be the part of your life, the part of your personality, holds within it the last of what you would need to look at in order to transform yourself according to preference. And this idea brings with it great joy. If you will simply shift your perspective slightly next time you get, bummed out, you can simply either continue to get bummed out, or you can say, not in a patronizing way, oh joy, I have nailed one down. I do not prefer this aspect of myself. Therefore, what must I believe? Well, I must believe this. My goodness, I do believe that. I can't believe it. Well, I must believe it. Therefore, now that I at least admit that I do believe it, now I can see why I am acting this way. Beliefs always lead to emotions, which always lead to thoughts. So if you have thoughts, actions, or feelings that you do not prefer, they always trace back to a belief. Now that you have identified what that belief is, how it allows you to feel, and what you then do because you have it, simply take the same steps with the new preferred belief. State it aloud. Feel it just as you did the old belief, and act that way. That's it. That's all you have been doing, though unconsciously or subconsciously, if you wish. Our gift to you, which can only be accepted by you because you already contain the gift, is that it is that simple, if you will allow it to be. You have allowed it to be this complicated. Therefore, you can also understand that complexity in mechanics of your reality is also only a belief. Reality is complex and rich in its diversity, but the mechanisms of creation are quite simple and quite effortless. Allow me now to extend our unconditional love and appreciation for your willingness to view these truths, to view these ideas, and to understand it will always be your choice. And one of those choices can be to begin to choose consciously. You can allow your life to run you, quote unquote, for that is also only an apparency. Or you can begin to allow your life to be that which you prefer. 'Tis up to you. We will not urge you in any direction. For to us, our purpose is to simply share these ideas. We believe in the power of them. And therefore, will never, in that sense, convince you of what we are saying. For that is not our point. You can, in that sense, either accept what I am saying and use it, not accept what I am saying and not use it. And I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it will be of service to you anyway. Therefore, in appreciation for your willingness to allow us to act as ambassadors from our civilization, and to you for acting as ambassadors or diplomats from your civilization, I ask you now, how may I be of service to you?